In your broadcast.
Is it going? Hi everybody, I'm Elizabeth Hines from OurPaleoFamily.com, and this is my daughter Kate, who is almost 10. She's going to cook with me today. Thank you for tuning in on KidCast. We are not your regularly scheduled program. Christy couldn't be with you today, so I'm filling in. Usually I do a nighttime show. We cook and talk all about the paleo diet. So I have my son Luke on the camera today, and my daughter is helping me, and we are going to make a paleo chocolate cake. And be sure you like the KidCast page if you haven't done that yet. After the show, head on over to Our Paleo Family's Facebook page and like that too. I have a website, which is OurPaleoFamily.com, and this recipe is there. It's called No One Will Know It's Paleo Chocolate Cake. And it's totally true. We've made this cake. This was your birthday cake last year. I made it a couple other times, and it is light and moist and like the best chocolate cake you've ever had. Now, I'll confess and say that when I make this for us, I usually make a regular buttercream icing with butter and powdered sugar. But we're going totally paleo today, and I'm going to make you a paleo buttercream, which will use the fat from coconut milk and some palm shortening and honey, maple syrup to sweeten it, so it's paleo all around. If you don't know what paleo is, I invite you to go to my website. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to try to multitask today. Usually my husband is here, so forgive me for looking at my phone. And he runs the camera, and he looks at comments for me, but I'm going to attempt to do this myself today. And I'm not quite seeing my video show up on here, so I'm going to keep checking my phone for just a few minutes to see if I can get the video up and see your comments, because I want to welcome you to the show. I'm excited that you're here. There I see us, and my daughter is going to help me to make sure I stay on top of the comments. And what I was saying was, if you don't even know what paleo is, I will summarize it and say it is an anti-inflammatory diet. We have autoimmune disease in our family, my husband and I. My kids have had some digestive troubles, some sort of behavioral troubles, and following this anti-inflammatory diet has helped tremendously. I feel great. I have Crohn's disease. I'm not on any of those strong medications. I have no symptoms whatsoever. I'm totally in remission just by following this diet. And if you want details, you can go to our website, and right along the very top there's a little sort of menu bar, and one of the buttons there is What is Paleo, and you can read all about it there. But in very brief, it is no grains, which includes gluten, so it's a gluten-free diet, no dairy, no legumes, which includes soy and peanuts. Very sadly, I love peanuts. No refined sugars, and no refined oils or industrial seed oil. So corn oil, canola oil, safflower, all those vegetable oils that nutritionists say are very good for you, are actually very inflammatory, so we leave those out in the paleo diet. So we are, again, if you just joined, I just gave you my little introduction. I'm Elizabeth, this is Kate. We're from OurPaleoFamily.com. You're watching on KidCast. Please be sure to like that page. And we are going to get going making our paleo chocolate cake with some paleo buttercream icing. Hi, thank you for joining. Is it Tati? Thank you for watching. All right, so Kate is going to help me line my pans. If I do not line my pans, my cake will stick, and I will be very sad. So we're going to line our pans with parchment paper. We've got Melinda. Y'all are so funny. Thank you for joining. So this cake recipe, if you look at it on my blog, I made it into a heart shape for Valentine's Day. And the recipe includes a chocolate cherry filling and a chocolate ganache. We're just going to make this simple cake today. And I like to make it in these cute little 6-inch pans because it will make a really tall cake. But I want this to bake faster today so that hopefully you can see the finished cake. So we're going to use two 8-inch round cake pans. So Kate, will you help me? We have Hussein and Jesse. I'm so glad y'all are watching. I hope you will enjoy and make this recipe. It is so yummy. You have clean hands, right? Mm-hmm. I have clean hands. We're going to dig in. Go ahead, go for it, Missy. I know. So if it's mud or sand or something like that, it is no problem to get hands dirty. But when it comes to cooking, sometimes the kids do not want to get their hands in there. But that is something I'm trying to teach mine, is that you really need to use your hands if you're going to cook. They're your best tool. You got to keep them clean. I had a little too much. Can I share with you? I want to tell you about our cute brown aprons that we're wearing today. I know brown is not the most popular color these days, but my parents owned a restaurant when I was her age, a little bit younger now, in Ohio. And in the 70s, brown was a very popular color. And this was my mom's apron, and this was my apron that Kate is wearing. So when we cook together, we like to wear our matching aprons. Okay, so mine is greased nicely. Is yours greased nicely? We've got Navin and Mishy and Kylie. Kylie's from Australia. Y'all are awesome. I'm so glad you're watching, and I hope you are happy to be here. We are happy that you're here. Okay, we just wiped our fingers because we were greasy. All right, so Kate, where's your pencil, honey? Okay, can you draw the line around this parchment paper? We're greasing our pan. We're making a paleo chocolate cake today. If you don't know about the paleo diet or why you might follow the paleo diet, the people that created this diet really talk a lot about what our Paleolithic ancestors ate, and that is all well and good, but we eat this way because, you can put that away, I won't eat it anymore, because it is an anti-inflammatory diet, and we are fighting autoimmune disease. My husband and I both have an autoimmune disease, and we're trying to keep the kids healthy. Sorry, that's loud. So, April, thank you for being here. April says, I'm thinking about starting a cooking tradition with my son. He's 7. I'm telling you, I've cooked with these little guys since they were just teeny weeny and had to stand on chairs to have their heads above the counter. And I can tell you that is a lot easier and it is a lot faster to just cook by yourself. But your kids will not learn that way. And I want my kids, when they leave home someday, to have a love for cooking and to know how to do it, to know how to feed themselves well. So don't worry, I'm not going to put lead in this cake. We did use the pencil to outline our pans, but I cut just inside that circle. So I'm going to fit this right down in. And Kate, do you want to cut or do you want to put more palm shortening in? You want to cut out the other circle? You want to put the palm shortening in. Okay, so we put the palm shortening in the bottom and around the edges. And we put in our parchment. We just need to put a little bit more palm shortening in there to make sure that our paper sticks. So instead of cutting around this whole circle, I actually fold it in quarters, and it's just faster and easier that way. You can use, this is a spray that I like. It's Spectrum brand coconut oil spray. So with paleo, we're trying to avoid all of the industrial seed oils. So coconut oil is a perfectly acceptable oil to use. These sprays all have something in them that we don't like. This one has soy, but sometimes I do use it just because it's fast and easy. So I have to find my other pan. Where did I set it aside? Here it is. So if you've just joined us, we're on KidCast today. I'm not your regular scheduled show. Christy couldn't be with you, so I'm filling in. I'm Elizabeth Hines, and I am a paleo cook, and we have a blog called ourpaleofamily.com. I post lots of recipes, lots of our old family favorites that we've turned into an anti-inflammatory recipe, and that's how we eat here all the time. And we make lots of noise and lots of mess. Watching from Dallas, it looks like Myra, Naveen, or Navin. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but I'm super happy that you're here. My husband is at work, and it looks like he's watching because he just put in a comment, and he should be working, so shame on you, honey. Okay, so I turned my oven on to 350. My pans are ready, so I'm going to set them out of the way, and we are going to make this. This is one thing I love about paleo cooking, is that in general it's so simple. I don't even get out my my mixer. I just mix everything by hand. I'm going to check in with my cameraman. Luke, are you doing okay back there? Thumbs up, buddy. Okay, y'all are watching on KidCast, and please make sure you like that show, that channel on Facebook, sorry. So we're going to do dry and we're going to do wet, and then we're going to combine them together. And this is my fine mesh strainer, which we're going to use just to make sure we don't have any lumps, because we're using cocoa powder and it is kind of lumpy. You know what? I forgot to get my almond flour out. Stand right here and tell everybody what your favorite thing is that we make. You gotta speak, Pears.
Probably this cake.
Probably this cake.
Or the ribs.
Ribs? What would be one more thing?
The cauliflower crusted pizza.
cauliflower crusted pizza. Y'all, that recipe is on the blog, and it is so good. If you follow my instructions, you will not be able to tell that the crust is made out of cauliflower. It is so yummy. Dawn, thank you for joining. Dawn says, what is paleo cooking? So paleo is an anti-inflammatory diet. It's a gluten-free diet. It's dairy-free. It's all grain-free, actually. I'm not going to sift my almond flour because it's a little bigger by nature. I don't need to sift it. So let me just put this in real quick. We eat paleo because I have Crohn's disease and my husband has type 1 diabetes. And my daughter has had some stomach issues that have been undiagnosed by the doctor. And my son gets sort of, definitely doesn't have ADD, but will develop some sort of tics occasionally. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of an uncontrolled physical motion, sometimes with his eyes, or sometimes it's something with his mouth. And when we took gluten out of their diets, Kate's stomach started feeling better. Luke's, these tics went away. And I'm totally in remission with Crohn's. My husband's diabetes is much better controlled by following this autoimmune diet. There's autoimmune paleo, which is a little bit more strict, and we do not follow that regularly. We're just following a regular paleo diet. So if you want more details on what that is, please go to my website, which is ourpaleofamily.com. And right at the top there is a button that says, what is paleo? And you can read what that is. But even if you're not interested in a paleo diet, this is just, it's awesome food. When you start pushing that through for me real gently, we put in almond flour and cocoa powder. So instead of wheat flour, we're using almond flour. When you take out plain white flour and plain white sugar and you substitute with honey or maple syrup, coconut oil, when you substitute out all of these ingredients that don't have any flavor and you put in foods that do, like almond flour instead of wheat flour, what you end up with is really, really good tasting food. Luke, shout out from behind the camera what one of your favorite things is that I make.
Probably the ribs.
Ribs. Okay, they really like the expensive food. So we did a whole show about budget paleo because we're eating sustainably sourced vegetables and meats, you know, animals raised without hormones and antibiotics, and that is more expensive than conventionally raised produce and meat. Okay, just let it sit right here. Let the bowl help you. See how it will rest right there. I'm going to pour this into. Now we're putting in some arrowroot starch, which will help to give the cake some lightness. So we talked about how to do paleo on a budget. And my kids like steak and ribs. They have very good taste, but we do not have those things very often. Luke's birthday is actually coming up, and he has requested ribs for his birthday. So that's a very special occasion when he'll get some ribs. Mandy says, my 2-year-old has stomach issues that the doctors haven't been able to diagnose. Someone suggested paleo. What could you use instead of almond flour? Because her other son has a tree nut allergy. There are other paleo accepted flours. You know, honestly, in a lot of paleo cooking, it's nut flour. But there's cassava flour, which is from the cassava root. That's actually autoimmune paleo acceptable, which is even easier on the gut and on the body. It's even less inflammatory. And the cassava flour, people say you can substitute that 1-for-1 for wheat flour. I usually use it in combination with either almond or with my arrowroot or tapioca. So I would try, you can't use all arrowroot or tapioca because they're too sort of gummy, but you can mix that with the cassava. There's tiger nut, and honestly I don't really know what the tiger nut is, so I would research that to see what kind of nut that is. But that is another paleo flour. The website is ourpaleofamily.com. Christine asked. Okay, so we have, Kate, what have you put in here? Almond flour, cocoa powder, arrowroot, baking soda, baking powder. I am a multitasker. That's not something that's hard for me, but trying to cook and talk to you and answer your questions and talk to my children at the same time is pushing me to my limit. Okay, but I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you're watching and responding. Yes, Kylie says, tell us what you're putting in. So I'm making this paleo chocolate cake. Here are our dry ingredients, and we have almond flour, cocoa powder, arrowroot, baking powder, baking soda, and I'm about to put in the salt, and that's the end of our dry. This is a half a teaspoon of salt. This recipe is on my blog, ourpaleofamily.com, and it's called No One Will Know It's Paleo Chocolate. There's an ice. A second. Are we back? Okay. Thank you, cameraman. We lost connection for just a second. There are other parts that go with this recipe as I have it posted, but we're just making the chocolate cake today, and we're actually making a different icing that is not listed there. So Kate, now that you have sifted those, great job. Use that and real lightly, let me show you, remember folding like this. We just want to mix together. And you know what, you can even use that whisk and it'll break up those big lumps of almond flour. And I'll start on the wet ingredients. Again, we're making paleo chocolate cake. You're watching on KidCast. Please like that Facebook page if you haven't done that already. Please feel free to share this video. I have 4 eggs going in with my wet. And I got these out of the fridge about an hour ago. If you have your eggs at room temperature, they'll incorporate better into your baked goods. Okay, can you find these ingredients easily, or do you have to go to special places? That's a great question, Dawn. So I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, which we are not a big city, even though we are the capital of North Carolina. But we have a lot of grocery stores near us, and even our Kroger carries a lot of these paleo ingredients. Let me rinse my hands real quick. We have a Whole Foods nearby, but mostly where I get my paleo pantry items is from Thrive Market, which Thrive, I say, is sort of like a combination of, let me scoot you for just a second, Costco, Amazon, and Whole Foods, because it's all the healthy stuff you might buy at Whole Foods, but it's really discounted prices like Costco, and you order it online and it is shipped to your door. So that's Thrive Market, and again, I have a link to that on my website. It's in the sidebar if you're looking on a computer, or it's at the very bottom if you're looking on your phone. And you can get a 3-month trial. One thing that's really neat about Thrive is that they will give, it's a membership, just like Costco. I think it's $60 for the year, but in one order, I save that amount of money. It's so much less expensive than just buying these ingredients at your local store, even if you can find them at like a Kroger, or we have Food Lion here. But you will get a free month's trial, so you don't have to pay anything. Shipping is free with a $49 order, so it's real easy to get to $49. We buy our shampoo, soap, toothpaste, all of our healthy stuff we order from Thrive, and it comes within a week. It's been really amazing. Did I say they give a free membership to a family in need? Mm-hmm. Like if you're a teacher, if you have a low-income job, they will give a free membership for every membership that's bought. So I love that aspect of the company too. So again, we're making paleo chocolate cake. Kate's working on getting all the little lumps out of my, I should have probably sifted that almond flour. Don't give me ugly faces. You know what you do? Look, we have a few lumps in here, but she has clean hands. She's just going to go in and break them up real easily. And I'm going to give you the towel right here. Let me see if I'm missing any. I'm from the UK. We'll have to look around. I don't know that that Thrive will ship to the UK, but I suspect they do. I don't want to say that for sure. Just check their website. So you've got the dry ingredients of our cake. I'm going to push you just that way since your elbow is elbowing me. And I've got my wet right here. So to sweeten this, we're going to use a combination of maple syrup and honey. You could use all maple syrup and you could use all honey. But I honestly hate the taste of honey. You can't taste it when it's baked, but just mentally, I know that I don't want to use all honey because I know that I don't like it. But my daughter, Kate, and my husband both love honey. So we want a half a cup total. So I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup of honey and about 1/4 cup of maple syrup. I'm going to hold this up to eye level so I measure it properly. All right, so there's my half a cup of sweetener. So instead of refined sugar, we're using maple syrup and honey. So the paleo, I don't know, the originators of the paleo diet, I guess, would say they're eating foods that our Paleolithic ancestors ate. So that's why honey and maple syrup would be okay. But, I mean, as I said before, these are just the foods that are easier on your body, that are anti-inflammatory. And I started eating this way, just me, without the kids. And then the more I read about how it could affect diabetes, which my husband has type 1 or juvenile diabetes, we included him. The kids got a lot of treats early on. I mean, they were maybe 30 to 40% paleo. But then my daughter started having these stomach pains, and I went through every test imaginable to try to find out what was wrong with me, what was causing my symptoms. I was diagnosed with Crohn's because I had emergency surgery, putting in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I did not want her to have to go through an endoscopy and a colonoscopy and, I mean, all of those procedures. So I said, before we go down that road, I'm sorry for putting my arm from your face, let's try paleo and see if it helps. And it did. I mean, lo and behold, almost instantly, her stomach pains went away. Good job. So she's got our dry ingredients. I'm missing my half a teaspoon. Here it is. I put in a teaspoon of vanilla. This is almond extract. We love almond flavoring. Part of our wedding cake was chocolate with almond buttercream. It's so yummy. So the almond is optional, but we really like it in there with chocolate. So in my wet, I have 4 eggs. I have half a cup of maple syrup and honey. I have a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of almond, and then I need palm shortening, which is the oil that we use instead of like a vegetable oil. This is a sustainably sourced oil that is not inflammatory. Have I used this one yet? That's a third of a cup. I need a half a cup. I have my cocoa powder in there, but that's okay. So I'm going to use a half a cup of palm shortening. All right, so while I'm measuring this out, let me remind you what we're doing. I'm Elizabeth from OurPaleoFamily.com. You're watching on KidCast, so be sure to like that page, share this video. We're cooking with kids in the kitchen today. My son is on the camera. My daughter is helping me cook. We actually are a homeschooling family, and it is August the 10th, and we started back to school on August 1st, so we are a week and a half into school. This fits perfectly with our homeschooling day because this is real life learning. I said this before, but I want to send my kids out into the world knowing how to cook and enjoying cooking. So this palm shortening, I ran out of what I typically use, which is Tropical Traditions. I ordered that online. And so we had to run to the store and buy this. Is Spectrum brand, which we find this at Kroger. Which I know there are a lot of those around the country. And this just has a little bit of a denser consistency than my Tropical Traditions, but it'll whisk right in. So I'm going to whisk this up. Kate, my oven is on to 350, right? Is it up to temperature?
Yes.
I was saying that I don't usually use my mixer because it's real easy to make most paleo recipes. There are very few and simple ingredients. But because this, well, I'm just going to leave it lumpy like that. That'll be all right. We're going to mix our dry and our wet together. So here we have almond flour, arrowroot flour, cocoa powder. What else is in there, Kate? Salt, baking soda, and baking powder. We have 2 kinds of leavener. Yes, it smells so good. So cocoa powder is kind of this new health food that everybody's talking about. I can see my husband is still watching and he's answering your questions. Sarah's from Ireland. Do you use special cocoa powder or normal? It's usually hard to find. The one I'm using this is Chatfield's. I've ordered this online from Thrive. I've ordered it from Amazon, and I find it locally at Kroger. It's just all natural cocoa powder that's unsweetened. It's not like hot chocolate. It's not the hot beverage. Although we have made hot chocolate out of it, you just have to add your own sweetener to it. Now, I like a little bit of a contrasting texture in my cake, so we add a few chocolate chips to our cake. So just a third of a cup, and the brand that we like is called Enjoy Life, and they are gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Most chocolate has soy in it, but on the paleo diet we're leaving out legumes, which include soy. So we like Enjoy Life, plus they taste really yummy. Kate, you want to measure those? Let me dry my hands. I'll look for comments, and you measure a third of a cup of chocolate chips. We have Jocelyn, Dennis. Dennis says, I love cake. We all love cake, right? What is better than cake? My kids are so excited to have cake today. Tiara, Bushra, nice family bonding activity. It is, and you know what? One, I confess that we do not cook together as often as I would like because it's just faster to do it myself. So it's great to have an excuse like doing this show to cook with the kids, and my son is on the camera, following in his daddy's footsteps. You doing okay back there, cameraman?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me put a few of these things away while Kate is testing the chocolate chips and making sure they're healthy. Okay, so let's put this here. And I'm going to put a little bit of arrowroot in my cake pans. I forgot to do this before. We put some palm shortening in there and some parchment paper to grease, but I just want to put a little bit of flour to help them. The cake's not stick, so we're using the arrowroot because it's real fine. Just bang that around. Kind of bang it around the edges. You got kids that like to make noise. This is perfect. You got to bang it like this. Turn it all the way around. Now, I'm going to weigh my cakes to make sure I get them even. So I'm going to turn on my scale. I've got my pan on here. And I want about half. Need a spatula. Kate, if you have extra, just go dump it in the sink. Actually, you know what? Let me run my spatula around here. Make sure everything... There are little white lumps in here. I don't know if you can see. That's just little bits of the palm shortening that's still a teeny lump. But that will work itself out in the oven. It'll actually make kind of light and fluffy. So that's 14.5. I just pour in what looks about right to me. Don't laugh at me. When the kids were really little, I would pretend that I was their cooking teacher, and I would talk in this funny voice. And this is why they like to help bake, but not regular cooking, because the sampling is better. So I've got those about even. Kate, because my hands are dirty, will you pick up the scale and carry it away? Thank you. So I would put on my funny voice, and I would pretend to be the cooking teacher, and they were my students, and I would forget their names, and we basically were like, we put it in the sink, honey. We're doing a little role playing, and they thought that was very funny. It was a good way to get them engaged. Honey, I need you not to do that, okay? But since you did taste, how is it?
Good.
Good. Okay. So just smooth this out. This is real simple, not fancy. I did have a little bit more in this one, so let me put a little bit in that one. All right, we're going to pop these in the oven for about 18 minutes, and we'll just keep checking. And then, while they're in there, we'll make our icing. Okay. All right, you want to give this a taste? How is it?
Delicious.
Sorry, Luke, behind the camera, you don't get a taste today, buddy. Okay. All right, you introduce yourself while I put these in the oven. Tell everybody who we are and what we're doing.
I am Kate, and this is Elizabeth, and we are making a paleo chocolate cake with buttercream icing.
Yes. And what is paleo? Can you answer that question? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, does paleo have gluten?
No.
No. So paleo is no grains, so that includes no gluten. We're just going to clean up a little bit because we made a mess with that chocolate cake batter. Paleo is no grains, it's no dairy, no legumes, which includes no soy, and no refined sugars and no refined vegetable oils. We have Bushra. Did I say hello to you people already? I'm trying to just include everybody. Claire, watching from Scotland. Oh, thank you so much, Natalie. Nyla, is that right? Yummy, want to eat it? I wish I could have everybody over to have some cake. But you can make this yourself, and it really is easy and fast. And this is a gigantic bowl, but it's only what I had left. We are not making this much icing. That would be crazy. So we are going to make our buttercream today out of coconut milk and some of the palm shortening. Because I have out my powdered sugar. We might need to use this for a little thickening or a little extra sweetness because our sweeteners are liquid. And you know, we need our icing to stand up. But I'm going to put a little coconut flour in, which will help for thickening. And then our flavoring, vanilla and maybe almond if my helpers want to put that in. So here's the trick with coconut milk. This is a great paleo ingredient. This is a new one. This is Native Forest, and they've just come out with this one. It's called Simple, and it has no guar gum in it. This is the first one that I know of that does not have the guar gum. So you put your coconut oil in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours. And Okay, what are the chocolate chips sweetened with? Lorianne asked. They do have cane sugar. So these are technically not paleo because of that little bit of sugar, but they're really a dark chocolate. I think they're 60-something%. It might be in the little corner that I ripped off. Let me read the ingredients just to make sure. Oh, we ripped that off too. I'm fairly certain it's cane sugar sweetening the chocolate chips. Okay, so to get started, we're going to, all of the fat from the coconut milk, you want to make sure you don't buy light coconut milk. You want the regular. You're going to spoon off the fat. It's come to the top. And I haven't used this simple one before, so I wondered if it would be a little bit different from the one that has the guar gum in it, and in fact it is. It doesn't have nearly as much of the fat at the top. So I'm not measuring, I'm just scooping out all that is solid in there. I need another spatula. That's just about 1/4 of a cup so far, and I really want more than that. So sometimes it'll solidify at the bottom and along the edges. This one just doesn't have very much. Kate, there's another can in the fridge. Would you get it out for me? It's in a Ziploc bag. I have a can of it's also native forest, but it does have the guar gum in it, which is generally accepted to be okay. But if we can not have any gums or additives in there, it's better. So this one, I've used most of it, but there's a little bit of the fat, and it's much more solid. So we're going to add that. We'll just make as much icing as we can. Let me fish all the little lumps of the solid coconut fat out of there. Okay, and then we're going to add in a little bit of palm shorty. So if you've just joined us, I'm Elizabeth Hines from ourpaleofamily.com. I have my daughter Kate cooking with me today. You're watching on KidCast. Please be sure to like that page if you haven't before. Then when the show's over, head over to Our Paleo Family on Facebook and like our page too, please. And you can go to my website, find all about the paleo diet. I post tons of recipes, good family-friendly recipes that, for the most part, my kids like. Occasionally we hit on something that is not a favorite, but for the most part, they like the things that I'm making. What did you say?
Black.
Black. Occasionally we get black, but for the most part, it's all good. We make chicken fingers and fish tacos, and Kate says she really likes the cauliflower crust pizza. We eat really yummy normal foods, but we just take out all those inflammatory ingredients. So I have lots of recipes, travel tips, all kinds of stuff like that on my website, ourpaleofamily.com. So I put in some palm shortening and coconut, the fat from the coconut milk, about the same proportions. And I'm going to just add in, I'm going to start with about a tablespoon of coconut flour. Coconut flour, in my opinion, has a strong taste and is very drying. So I don't like to cook with it exclusively. I should have said coconut flour before when one of the ladies asked what she could use instead of almond flour. Coconut flour is perfectly acceptable, but it is very drying. You cannot substitute it 1-for-1 with for wheat flour. You really, I think, because of the flavor and because it's so drying, you need to cut it with another flour like arrowroot, one of the nut flours if you can have the nuts. So then we want maple syrup for our sweetener. This recipe is not on my blog because I've never made it before, but I'm making it for you, so we are going to experiment today. Okay, do you want to mix? Mm-mm. All right, so what are you going to do to be helpful? Wash the dishes? Mm-hmm. They love to cook with me, but they don't like to wash the dishes. Does that happen in your house? That happens in my house. Do y'all have any questions? Let's see, let me scroll through. Huma says, yum, chocolate. Nyla says, cutie. Thank you so much. People tell me I'm cute all the time. Do you think maybe she's talking about you? I think maybe she's talking about Kate. So I'm making my buttercream frosting. I admitted before that even though paleo excludes dairy, we eat a lot of dairy in this house because we have gone through the elimination phase of doing a paleo diet, and we know that we can handle some dairy. I eat very little because just a little bit is okay with my digestive system. But the kids and my husband honestly eat, let's say, a medium amount. I'm not cooking a meal with cheese typically. It's only if we have pizza, maybe if they have tacos, they might sprinkle a little cheese on top. So I'm not preparing really dairy-heavy meals, but they might have a slice of cheese with their lunch or something like that. Yeah, so I'm just going to stir this up. So we usually make regular buttercream icing with butter, but I'm trying this paleo version, which uses coconut milk and palm shortening. And this is just a little bit. It's not very fluffy. I wonder if we need to use the whisk attachment. Okay, can you find the whisk one that goes with this? It's in the pantry where the others were. I'm going to take these out and I'm going to use the whisk. But I am going to taste this and see if it is sweet enough. It's not really sweet enough. Nyla, Hope, such adorable little helper. Lori Ann, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. Hope is in Wisconsin. Mary, Bettina, y'all are great. So encouraging. Kate, everybody is loving you. You can put it in either one. You got to twist it till it kind of clicks in. Good job.
I'm glad we're making cake and not something healthy.
Did you hear that? She's glad we're making cake and not something healthy. Shame on you. That's not my little paleo ambassador. But it is about the healthiest cake you can have because we don't have gluten, we don't have dairy, we don't have soy, we don't have refined sweeteners. Excuse me. So I'm whipping this up to try to get it light and fluffy. When you use the coconut, the fat from the coconut milk and the palm shortening, you really have to work to whip it together. Now it will stand at room temperature if you are carrying this cake to somebody else's house and like a barbecue, but I would not set it out in the sun. 100-degree day. It's up. So we lost connection for just a second. My cameraman told me we're back up. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's coming together. It doesn't look broken. It's light and fluffy. Let's taste it. What do you say? Let's just get a little taste. Is it sweet enough? It's not sweet enough. How about you want almond or vanilla extract? You want to pour it in? Just a little, just do a couple drops. So we're making a buttercream frosting with palm shortening and the fat from the top of a can of coconut milk. We put it in the refrigerator so the fat would rise to the top. My cameraman is dancing over there. What's the problem? Are you okay? I think he's bored. So I put in some maple syrup, but I don't want to put in any more. Excuse me, I don't want to put in any more liquid sweetener because I don't want to thin out my icing. I like the consistency of it right now. We're going to put in a little of this organic powdered sugar. This isn't paleo, but a little bit of powdered sugar is not going to kill you. So we're about like 95% paleo in this house. Excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat. Kate, can you do this? Okay, put it in there and then turn it on.
Run.
Yep, Just get it up to maybe 2 or 3. And I'm going to check on our cakes. My phone just went dead and I'm trying. Carissa's watching from South Africa. Mary, Denise. Y'all are so awesome. Lauren from Pennsylvania. Kelly from Indiana. I'm originally from Ohio, just inside the border from Indiana. So I feel like Indiana's almost my home. I'm going to check on our cakes. The cakes aren't quite finished, as always. When I'm cooking with you, I forget to set a timer, so I forgot to set a timer. Good job. Can you just keep doing that for a while? Okay, let me test the thickness of it. I think we want it a little bit thicker. So, I'm going to put in another spoon of coconut flour. So, you know, when you're baking a cake, you need to follow the recipe for the cake. But something like icing, you don't really have to follow a recipe. You can just kind of work it out yourself. I almost always just put in a stick of butter or I put in my palm shortening, start adding a little bit of liquid, be that coconut milk or almond milk, some flavoring if I want it, and then whatever sweetener I want. And then when I need to thicken it, I'll put in some of my powdered sugar, maybe some coconut flour, and just get it how I want it in terms of the thickness and the sweetness. It's the same thing with cooking, like cooking your dinner. need to measure everything. Taste, throw a little bit in. How's that going, Kate? You doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
Lorianne says they homeschool too. These school days are just the best. I know we've homeschooled since the beginning. It was not what we thought we would be doing, but through a lot of prayer and thought, we realized this was really what we were supposed to be doing. We started when Luke was in kindergarten, and that's what we've been doing ever since. Kate didn't even go to a preschool. She's just been my homeschool baby since the very beginning, and it is not the easiest. It is it's hard some days, but it is a total blessing, and I'm so thankful that we get to do it. Now, one thing with this icing is you do want to refrigerate it for a little while before you use it, because it'll help it to set up a little. I want it a teeny bit sweeter, do you? And a little more almond. You want a little more almond? Okay, so you put in a little bit more almond. I'll put in a little bit more powdered sugar. Luke, what do you think? A little more sugar?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, always a little more sugar. Okay, that's good. All right, so we're making our paleo chocolate cake with our, you want to whip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with our buttercream icing, but we don't have butter. We're using palm shortening and the fat that has risen to the top of a can of coconut milk. If you're watching on KidCast, make sure you like that page. Please feel free to share the video. The kids love to go back and watch themselves after the fact, so the video will be up there for a while. We'll go back and watch it. It's great fun, isn't it? How's it going?
Good.
It's a good workout for her muscles. She's getting to stretch. Their daddy is really tall, and so I hope that someday they will be much taller than me. This will be easier for you, sweetie. Jenna says hi. Paige. Paige says, is it your choice to be? Is it paleo or homeschooling? Which one are you asking about there, Paige? Tiffany from Pennsylvania. My husband is still answering questions, so I apologize if I don't get to your question, but it looks like he is. Keep up the homeschooling. We just started our 5th year. Yeah, so Luke is my son is in the 7th grade. Did just quit. And my daughter is in the 4th grade. We just started. We're in the middle of our 2nd week of school for this year. I know it's a little bit early, but the behavior was starting to get a little out of control, and I could tell that everybody was bored, and it was time to go back to school. And that's one of the joys of homeschooling is you have total flexibility. You can decide when to start, when to take breaks. We like to take a lot of breaks through the year. Okay, taste it off a year. It tastes a little coconutty, but we've used coconut flour and coconut milk, so it is going to taste a little bit coconutty. We've got the rich chocolate cake. It'll complement really well. You think it's sweet enough? I think it's sweet enough. You a little bit more? Okay, just a little bit. So we're deviating from paleo right here by using some powdered sugar, but this Wholesome brand, you know, powdered sugar is just ground up cane sugar, but they usually put in cornstarch to sort of lighten it up. So this Wholesome brand uses tapioca instead. That's a little bit better. Corn is pretty inflammatory. We do not eat corn on the paleo diet. Corn's one of those things actually that bothers me a lot. So it was great when we found this brand of powdered sugar. Judith says she can't wait to see the finished cake. Me too. Hopefully it'll be out really soon. While Kate is mixing, I love having an assistant. I'm going to clear some of these things away so I can show you the finished cake. And just put some stuff back here. Luke and Kate have promised me that they are going to do all the dishes when we're done with the cake today. Every last little bit. They're going to sweep the floor. They're going to mop. They're going to totally clean up for me today, right? That's right. Thank you, Kate. They're such good helpers all around. Okay, that looks great. So do you know how to eject it? You need to eject you push that big button at the top? That big gray one? There you go. Now kind of beat that against the edge of the bowl and get that to come off. And then since your hands are clean, you can use your hands a little bit. I'm just going to test my cake. I'm sure y'all know this, the toothpick method. So it's nice and flat. It looks dry. I think it's done. Let me test it. There's a little bit of chocolate at the end, but I think I just hit a chocolate chip. So let me stick. I don't have any crumbs. That one came out clean. So that one's done. Let me check my other one.
Hang on, lick the spatula. Or the whisk.
The whisk, you can. And I accidentally stuck my hot pad in that one, but totally done. So we'll let those cool for just a minute. Let me turn my oven off. Excuse me, I still have that tickle in my throat. I am going to set this in the fridge for just a second to let it set up a little bit. You want to have your icing in the fridge for maybe 15 minutes. Before you use it. Kate, can you talk, or is your mouth just full of icing? Her mouth is full of icing. Okay, so I'm going to see if we have any comments that I haven't responded to here. Okay, so Chris has said I'm working on a paleo cookbook. I am, and I have been so busy, and let me tell you, while we're waiting for the cake to cool, I'll tell you what I've been busy doing, and that is we have started, in addition to the blog, in homeschooling, which the homeschooling, that's my main job, being a wife and a mom and then a teacher. Those are my main jobs. But I started the blog to really share our story and help people know that there's another way to health besides medication. Some of those drugs that I was on for my Crohn's disease were carried a great risk of cancer, and that was just scary to me. And I started reading about paleo, and I realized that there was another way that I could probably be healthy without those drugs. And so we started paleo. And like I said before, my husband's diabetes is very well controlled on the paleo diet. Let me have this, honey. Kate was having stomach pains. Occasionally something will come up, but it's usually when she's had a lot of dairy, or we've been on vacation and she's had a lot of gluten-free products. And occasionally Luke's in Boy Scouts, and he just can't always control what he eats. So if he eats gluten, it really affects him. He'll develop these tics. So anyway, that's why we follow this paleo diet. But as I was creating recipes for the blog, so I started the blog so other people could see you don't have to take the drugs. You don't have to live with the headaches or the irritable bowel syndrome or the ADD. It's possible that this diet can help you. It's not a cure-all, but it does help a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And as a part of doing the blog, I was recreating all of our family favorites. And at Christmas time, how many cookies do we make at Christmas? How many different kinds of cookies?
About 7.
All right, that's a low number. So how many cookies do we usually make at Christmas, Luke?
Oh, how many exactly?
No, how many types of cookies?
Oh.
We usually sit down right after Thanksgiving and everybody lists their 2 or 3 favorites. So we were making 8 to 12 types of cookies every Christmas. Well, then paleo came along and everybody said, wait, we have to still have cookies. So that became my, okay, well, you hit the timer button. That became my mission to recreate some of our favorites as paleo versions, and they were so good. I got such amazing feedback that we have started selling our cookies, and we're in one little shop locally in Raleigh right now. You can buy them from my blog. There's a shop page. We're doing our first event this weekend. If you're in the Raleigh area, there's a gluten-free, allergy-free wellness expo full of different companies, demonstrations, all sorts of things. So we're going to be a vendor there this weekend. And I started selling these because I wanted to have something I could buy my kids. When I was, there comes my cake. It slipped right out because we used our parchment paper. If I was out, we were doing a marathon day of errands, I'd want to buy my kids a treat, and there were no paleo treats in the store. So I'm hoping we might get in Whole Foods someday or some other stores. But right now we're real small, so kind of baking maybe is my forte. Okay, hit the timer button, sweetie. So that one dumped right out a little faster than I wanted. Okay, ready? I need another hot pad. Will you grab me that other one? I don't want to burn myself. Thanks. Do you want to dump it? Okay, ready? All right, so these are hot. They're too hot to ice right now, but I'm going to cut one open because we want to finish up. I want to let you go. I so appreciate you watching, but I want to show you the texture of this cake. You can see it's light, it's bouncy, like a cake mix cake, like a regular wheat-filled cake. So I'm going to cut this little wedge out. It's not gummy, it's not dense, it's light and fluffy. It's really hot. I don't want to burn my fingers. Luke, are you seeing an up-close picture?
Yeah.
I want you to see the holes in there. I mean, this is a light and moist and delicious cake. And Kate, you want to grab the icing out for me? So we're going to just squeeze that piece back in, and we'll glue it back in with icing, and we'll put a little icing on this layer, and we'll put a little icing on top, and then I'm sure we will use some sprinkles. These are totally not paleo sprinkles, but this is how we have some balance in our life. Let me show you this. What did I do with my spatula? Go through so many spatulas. My husband teases me for having so many, but we use them all, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a nice thick consistency. I don't know if you can see that.
Thick.
It's nice and thick. It's spreadable. I'm not going to spread it on my cakes because they're just too warm. But this is about a total of 2 cups of icing. And it will be the perfect amount to just spread a little on this layer and a little on top. I won't ice the whole sides. And then, like I said, we'll put a little sprinkles on top. If I were in charge, I would say let's put some fresh strawberries or raspberries, maybe blueberries on top. But I will concede to my helper today, and we'll put some sprinkles on. Have you chosen the chocolate sprinkles?
These and these.
So thank you all for watching today. Again, I'm Elizabeth Hines from OurPaleoFamily.com. I've got Kate, my super duper cute assistant, and my son Luke behind the camera. Luke, run around this way and just say hi to everybody. And I'm sorry I just stepped on your toe.
It's okay.
Here's Luke. He's almost 12. He's going to be 12 next week. I can't believe it. Time flies. But we made this paleo cake. The recipe is on my blog, which is OurPaleoFamily.com. The recipe is called No One Will Know It's Paleo chocolate cake. This is just the cake part of that recipe. The icing I haven't put up yet, but I will. I will go back and make it again and write down all the measurements for you, and I'll post that on the blog. Make sure you like KidCast, share the video, head over to Our Paleo Family on Facebook and like that page too. And I just thank you so much for joining today. Y'all are awesome. I hope you have a great day. I hope you explore the paleo diet. If it's something you think that might help you or your family, really has been a miracle for us. So thank you again so much for watching. See you later.